What's going on, guys? All right, there we go. Had trouble last night. I want to get on early a little bit tonight. Make sure I don't have any trouble and make sure everything's working. This is a live stream app that I can broadcast about 5 different platforms. What I'm on tonight. I'm twice on Facebook, X, YouTube. I'm supposed to be on Instagram, but I don't know if I can carry Instagram on here. You guys got a lot of shorts coming out too, so and that goes to a lot of probably 5 different platforms on that too, getting the word out. I wanted to do this Thursday night podcast just for informational purpose only. I think I have too much information to tell everybody to do it on Wednesday, so I kind of wanted to do twice a week. And what we don't want to do is bring on Wednesdays, because it's usually me talking for about 30 minutes and then Jeff gets on there and we'll talk about bats and short porch. I want this to be, how you doing, Bob? I want this to be more of a teaching, giving different perspectives on everything. I want to have guests on this Thursday night podcast. Problem with Wednesdays is we're crunching everything together, and I don't think a lot of things were said that people want to know about. So I wanted to do it. You guys remember I was asking for dates, and I know Rachel does the Monday. Her and Bob does the Monday, and then Tuesday you have Cole and Cage actually will do that Tuesday. Every once in a while, they're not going to commit to it once a week, but whenever we have USSSA bats coming out, those guys will get on there and talk. Wednesday has always been, matter of fact, guys, if you can remember, I used to be on Fridays, and then I changed to Wednesdays, and then went back to Fridays, kind of back and forth, and then now I want Wednesdays, and then Thursdays I kind of thought about doing this because you guys are traveling on Friday night, so I didn't want to do it on Friday night, especially when the softball season kicks off. So basically, you guys, and I know there's going to be a different platform for different people. You know, a lot of seniors probably be on here because I'm going to talk a little bit about peptides. That's some of them right there. HGH, that's one right there. I just got those in today. I'm going to send a message to those guys. So I'm going to talk about health and nutrition, things that I have read up on, studies that I have read up on. And then basically, guys, listen to this. And I got to say this too. I'm not going to give you dosage on any of the peptides or any of the stuff that we do with people that I have on here. There is another, Leslie and Jeff know another doctor that I want to have on to basically talk to a lot of the seniors out there. Gauge, and talk to a lot of the seniors out there about how to better your quality of life, basically. And I think because I've talked to a lot of seniors out there, and I think they're just misinformed, or they don't know what the new stuff that's coming out. I have to do this, guys. Okay, this is another thing too that I want to do because I'm cooking right now, and I'm cooking stuff in the oven, and I can't get to it. I have to leave the podcast and go over there and check it. But I'm cooking poppers. If you guys know what poppers are, they're actually meat, and mine is axis meat. And I do this a lot. You guys know I have a lot of axis meat, and I love wild meat. I love wild game, right? Doesn't have anything in it. It's just wild, you know. And I have axis meat, and I got these little square, thin pieces of meat off the backstrap, and I take jalapeno and then cream cheese and I wrap it in bacon. Great, great. Not very low in carbs. Got a lot of protein, a little bit of fat. Well, a lot of fat because of the bacon, but fat's not really. That's another thing too. I'll talk about is fat. Fat's not really bad for a lot of people. Um, I I eat a lot of fat, not a lot, but I eat my fair share of eggs in the morning, bacon and eggs in the morning. I hardly eat. I try to stay away from carbs. That's another thing too. So we'll talk about that during this Thursday night podcast on basically what I eat. And if you guys have seen me, I've been posting some pictures of me. I don't usually do that. That's another thing too. I usually don't post pictures of me with like with a tank top on or anything like that. But if I'm 65 years old and if I want you guys to listen and watch what I've done to this, right? And because I work out really hard too, but I eat Pacific. I do stray every once in a while. Everybody does, but I eat Pacific foods. Yes, sir. I actually am. If Brandon's on here, I'm hitting with one of his guys tomorrow. We are hitting tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock in Springfield, Georgia. I play a tournament next week. Start on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And a lot of the guys coming down, Dave Sumter and Paco, come down and we're going to hit tomorrow. We're going to hit Shoreport. So we're doing live in the morning. So basically, I'm doing poppers right now. So I want this to be more like I cook a lot of my own foods, right? Chicken breast, stuff like that. I stay away from carbs. I stay away from white carbs. I'll stay away from pasta, white pasta. Everything is dark pasta. Grains are good. And what did you get all like? You get all like.
I didn't get all gussied up for you.
No. I was like, Bob's not here. You really want to jump on, right? Because you got so much to talk about tonight.
No, you told me.
Bob, I'm just messing with you. I think
I'm on time.
Cage is going to come on here too in a little minute. I got to talk to him about his guys, but he's going to come on. He's going to come on here in a minute too. But what I was doing, and I want this page to be, is we're going to have a lot of guests on the page, and you can show up whenever you want to. But I really want to talk about. I really want to talk about a lot of your perspective, and I'll have some other ladies on here too. A lot of ladies on here too in the podcasts that are coming up. But basically, get your ladies talking about, because we talked about this too. Is the ladies swing is different than a man's swing, right? So, and then I want to talk about tournaments. What can be done better? Because I think Andy was on with Matt Barnes last week, and they were talking about, she was talking to them about tournaments. What can he do better? Because he asked her, what can he do better to make tournaments better for the ladies out there? I will say this, I was at the Challenge Cup, and there was a lot of good and a lot of ladies out there playing ball at the Challenge Cup. That was in Florida about 3 weeks ago. And they had everybody there. A lot of people were watching them. And I think that needs to be, and I hear, because I've been doing podcasts for a while, I hear a lot of the ladies talk about what they would do better, basically. Yep. And we're going to go all into that here in about a few minutes. But the one thing I do want to talk about is, guys, Ed Rose. If you guys know Ed Rose, he's in the hospital right now. I think I don't want to get too far into it. I know what happened, but I don't want to talk about what happened. He's in the hospital, and let's just pray for him and hope that he gets better. Ed Rose is a influencer. He's more of that 75 to 80-year-old group. I think I talked to him about 2 weeks ago. I did an interview with him in Florida, and he's been in the hospital for a couple of days, and he's fighting something right now. So everybody think about Ed. I know you guys know who he is, and you guys seen him out there. He does a lot of podcasts. He talks to the older guys. He has his own hitting thing that he does too. So everybody think about Ed Rose for the next couple of days. I hope he gets better. But one thing I'll start off by asking you, do you take creatine? Like on
I do. So I know a lot of women do have creatine sensitivities. Um, and if you take too much at first, it will have some diuretic effects.
yes.
So that's what I take it. I usually just put it, the kind that I have is flavorless, tasteless, and I just throw it in my coffee a lot of times in the morning. So that's
Yeah.
what we do, a small scoop with the collagen and throw it in the coffee. And that way you're done for the day. You know, you have it.
What is your regimen too? Like as you get older, and I learned this, I've been doing supplements all the time all my life. And I
Yep.
experimented with different supplements. I experimented with the testosterone boosters, the HGH boosters, not the injectable, but basically the ones you put underneath your tongue, because they're talking about HGH. IGF-1 is another one too that you put underneath your tongue. The problem is it was just a gimmick because the molecule will not absorb through the bloodstream through your tongue. So that was just something a lot of people making money off, and they were charging like $100, $150 for that stuff, and it wasn't working, you know. And basically, it was there was something into it that mimicked the effect of HGH, right? So,
Right.
and it's just a scam. But how do people? Another thing, how do people find out if it's a scam? Like we're going to talk a little bit about peptides tonight too, if you want to go that far in it. And I'll talk about what you don't have to say. I'll just talk about if you want to. So I'm just leaving it out there, right? I know. How do you find a good quality place? That's the biggest question I get. Where can I get it from, and how do I know if it's good or not?
Well, let's go with any supplement, whether it's peptides, whether it's hormones, whether it's protein, any of the supplements. If you're only paying $20 for a big old can of protein, you're probably getting junk with a lot of fillers.
Yes.
So, I mean, let's go with protein or the creatines. You know, and a bunch of guys are on the pre-workout. If you need pre-workout, then go for it. But the creatines and the proteins, look at the ingredients, and the less ingredients, the better. That's the more quality you're getting. Look and see. I love the ones that are made in the USA. Two of my favorite brands that are made here that are easy to get. Well, one's much easier is First Form. And the reason why I like First Form is because it's really easy to dissolve in water, because a lot of people do put it with milk, but you can't, a lot of times if you're on the go, you can't take milk with you. But for your protein powders, like 8 ounces of water and a scoop of protein, and you're good to go. And it has 15,000 flavors. I mean, they have so many flavors that you can generally find something you like. And then they have the meal replacement one, or just one that is like post workout. But the other thing I do to boost my protein with that is egg whites. And you put egg whites with protein powder. I mean, the little ones you get from Costco or Sam's Club. If you drank that whole thing, it's like 50 grams of protein right there.
Yeah.
So, and that's what people don't realize is pure egg whites is protein. So that's an easy source right there.
Yeah, a lot of people would laugh at me because my breakfast in the morning would be 6 eggs, sunny side up, and then I would have 4 pieces of bacon, right? And it all depends on how my day went. I would actually get wheat toast, if like a couple of wheat toasts with no butter on it, because I don't like the milk products right out there. I actually drink goat's milk, so because of the protein, because I'm allergic to the protein. So, but my guys would laugh at me because every morning I would get 6 eggs, and it'd be a pile of eggs, and it was huevos ranchos. I had something in it, right, that I can mix it around with, and I would eat that in the mornings every morning for the last since 15 years that I've been doing it. And my level, I'd get my blood work, and a lot of people need to understand. I know there's a lot of cholesterol in there, but we kind of need cholesterol, and we don't need to. There's ways you can bring that cholesterol down, and it's not fat, and it's not protein. It's actually carbs, and that's Tammy texting me about the poppers. Did you take a picture of them? How do they look? Okay, take them out. I cook these poppers, right? You can eat them during the week, and they're round and it's full of protein and fats, and that's it. I love that stuff. But what on the let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. On your protein powders, right?
Mm-hmm.
On your protein powders, because I do a lot of I have protein. Like last night, I came in from the gym. It was 11 o'clock at night, and I knew that I had to get something in me. I wasn't going to go to bed after working out, and I kind of waited about an hour because that's what you want to do. You don't want to take it right after you work out because it'll suppress your testosterone. For men, it'll suppress your testosterone if you spike your insulin, right? So I kind of waited an hour, and then I got mine is egg protein. Like I get the egg protein, the egg white protein, and which has stevia in it because I don't have any sugar as a filler because you don't want that protein spike. You don't have that insulin spike because of the sugar that's in it. And a lot of my stuff is just stevia everywhere, right?
Mm-hmm.
And even I have the stevia powder here that I drink with that. I don't eat. I try to stay away from all the artificial sweeteners, but with your fillers, a lot of things you talk about fillers too because you're paying $20-$30. I don't think people understand how they make the protein powders with milk. It's the bottom of the barrel stuff. It's that stuff that froth is up at the top, and they scrape it off and they freeze dry it and they powderize it. It's the bad stuff after they do the milk. It's just bad.
Well, and a good company's also going to have it third-party tested. So like one of the comments we have here is talk to the bodybuilders in your area. Most of them know. Well, yes, but what are you trying to do with your protein powder? A lot of these bodybuilders are still trying to gain weight, right? A lot of times they got to gain that weight. They're eating 5,000-6,000 calories a day so they can build that huge muscle mass. Whereas most women are never going to eat 5,000 or 6,000 calories a day unless they're, super fit CrossFitter who's trying to bulk up for the competition and needs that energy for the 3-day competition. But even then, I mean, you just don't eat that much. So, but then another common thing that a lot of women have is undereating. So if you undereat, you can gain weight that way because your body feels like it's going into starvation mode. You're not going to lose any weight.
Mm-hmm.
So it's that happy medium that you have to find.
Yes. So what do you wake up in the morning? What do you do? Because I know that you dropped weight, and we'll talk about that later. But what do you wake up in the morning? How many, like, here's another thing too, people don't understand is how many meals do you eat during the day too? I mean, that's my biggest, where I don't eat a lot of meals during the day. I try not to snack, and I'll usually keep it down. If I can eat 2 meals a day, that's fine. I get up in the morning, I eat breakfast, but a lot of people are saying, and I do believe this, that if you wait as long as you can and probably eat around 1 o'clock, that actually better for you too, because it's almost like fasting, 16 hour fast, or let's say it's not a 24 yet, but it's like a 16-hour fast. And that actually is good for the body too, because it releases growth, right? When you fast in that 24, 48-hour fast, it actually starts to release growth hormone in your body. So you're right too. If you starve, you need to get past that because your body will actually start to hold onto fat and then and get rid of muscle. So you got to, there's kind of like a slippery slope right there, and you got to know your body too when it comes to that.
Right. And I'll be honest, I don't really have too much of a routine right now. I used to have one better since, kind of recently retired and going on to the new chapter in life. It's just been, no set time to wake up now unless I have someplace to go. But my very first thing is I get up and I have my coffee, just 1 cup, and I collagen for sure every morning. Sometimes I'll put the creatine in, sometimes I won't. Just kind of depends on how I'm feeling that day and what my peptides are. I'm going to take that day too. But I take peptides. I have some that I take in the morning and some that I take at night.
Yeah.
But peptides are huge, and that's what's helped me get back into better shape this past 6 months. So
do you take a pre-workout? You kind of stumbled on pre-workout a minute ago when you were talking about it. Some people like that. So I wanted to ask you because I don't
I normally don't. What I'll do is I try and take the AOD peptide 30 minutes before I work out. and you take it before you work out, about 30 minutes before, go work out, and you take it on an empty stomach too. That's the thing a lot of people don't realize. A lot of these peptides work better when you take them on an empty stomach. So you
Yes.
really, I mean, once you start, if you go down the rabbit hole of peptides, I'm going to call it rabbit hole because there are 1,000 of them out there.
Yeah.
You have to plan it out. I mean, I have a whole journal where I write down what what dosage I take, what day, and all that kind of stuff. So, and there's 15,000 different philosophies on it, just like with working out with the diet. Some people say intermittent fasting's amazing. One of them we found is carb cycling. Really became popular there for a while. Men, it works phenomenal on. Women, when you get to that premenopausal, menopausal stage, it can mess with you. Even before that, it can mess with a female and their hormones and their cycles like crazy.
Yeah.
So you really have to, as females, you have to be careful with that.
What there was so the one thing that I don't like about pre-workout is it raises your blood pressure for one, and it raises your heart rate. So as seniors, I would recommend them guys staying away from that, because I know guys that are in their 60s, 65 and 70s that will actually take a pre-workout to play softball. And guys, that's something that you're playing with.
Well, and here's what a lot of people do. They'll take a pre-workout right before they go do cardio. No, cardio is what gets your heart rate up. So you don't want to double dip that, because I mean it can be really bad, even if you're young. And what the younger generation I found, and one of my stepdaughters did this, and especially when she lived with us, and I would just look at her like she was crazy, is she would dry scoop. So she would just take the pre-workout, throw it in her mouth, and then drink some water. And that became really popular for a while, dry scooping. And I'm like, that's just, I mean, that's just hardcore to me.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, in the niacin, a lot of people are allergic to the niacin in the pre-workout, and they don't know it until they get that beet red face, and they get the prickles all in their skin, and then so they have to figure out what one works and which one doesn't.
Yeah, it's almost like needles everywhere.
Yeah.
If you take too much of it real fast, if you don't wean yourself into it. And I actually take it's not a peptide, but I actually take because my girl, I call her my girl that does my peptides for me. She gives me these B12. It has niacin, L-carnitine, and has all these vitamins in it because they're injectable, right? It's the best way to go. You agree with that? Pill form sucks. Nasal spray, a little bit better than pill form, but it still doesn't get absorbed. Injections is the way to go. Injections through the roof is the way to go. Hold on.
Well, no, people. Okay. Pausing.
We're gonna have an interruption right now. Okay.
Okay.
We're gonna have an interruption. Hang on. He's gotta talk. He just can't handle it.
Out.
Handle what?
No, you can't handle it. Like if me or her were talking about the injection part, you'd be going and you just back out of it. You would just take off because you're such a busy man. You got things to do. So you got 5 minutes. I told him I'd give him 5 minutes tonight. What are we going to talk about, Cage? 5 minutes. Okay, we're going to talk about U-Trip, right?
Yeah, we're talking about U-Trip.
Talk to me about U-Trip.
We have a lot of good stuff coming. Next week we expect the Psycho Tomato drop, which is on that Scared After Dark platform. That is a 12.5-inch barrel DDT model with a half-ounce load. To follow that, you'll be with the Scared Summer series. You have a 12-inch barrel balanced DDT model, a 12-inch barrel half-ounce load DDT model, a 13-inch one-piece SpinTech half-ounce model, and a 12-inch barrel balanced one piece with SpinTech. You have after that you'll see Anthony Munoz's new signature. That's kind of our plans for U-Triple-SA at this very moment in time.
Because that bat is hot. That bat actually
Yes,
ranked. That bat. Well, I shouldn't say that, right? About the ranking thing on that. That's kind of like another video, right?
Yeah, a lot of people think very, very highly of that Aim High.
I like how you smooth that over for him because I almost gave it away right there. But anyway, but you did that to me the other day too, so you won. What else we got doing? Bat bags. What do we find out today about bat bags?
Bat bags are expected to be here first of next week.
Okay. That's what you're going to say?
Yes, sir. They're
Okay.
expected to be here first of next week.
I like the way you're very cautious when saying things because something might go wrong. And you don't want to be held out there. Well, Cage said that we're going to be here, 2 o'clock tonight.
People
Right.
say
So
that. They'll say, well, Cage said.
Kate said. So I like the way he prolongs it out a little bit longer. That way he doesn't get talked to by me.
Yeah, a lot of people like to hold me to my word in this world, and I guess that's appropriate.
All right, brother. That's your 5 minutes. Although it was like 2 minutes, but that's your 5 minutes. Anything else you want to say?
No, that's all I got, boss.
All right, buddy. I'll see you in the morning hitting balls.
I'll see y'all. Bye, Rachel.
All right, buddy. He wanted to jump on. That's how come I said like, wait, he wanted to jump on and talk about the U-Trip stuff because we got a bunch of stuff coming in the next few days. And I heard those bat bags were in Georgia. They're just waiting to be delivered. And he's right. Either tomorrow afternoon, or Monday, basically next week. And we don't want to get people where they're coming in tomorrow and they don't come in tomorrow. They come in Tuesday. So we just prolong.
Even if they do come in tomorrow, you have to receive them. Then you have to get all the orders lined up. So they wouldn't even go out until next week anyway. So that's what people have to realize is,
a lot of people want like those bags too. Do you what's your dosing on creatine?
Just one scoop. So I think it's like 2 milligrams to 2 to 5 milligrams a day.
Yeah, I'm doing 10 grams a day. So I'm doing 2 scoops at 5 grams because that's what it comes in the container. So
5 grams, sorry, not milligrams.
Because I'm older, so because it's very good for your brain. So and very good for your body, for your brain. They're finding out right now because all the studies are doing on the older gentlemen or the older ladies that it's very good for the brain. And it helps with memory, helps with a lot of things for the brain when it comes to the older gentlemen and ladies out there. Injectables. We're talking about injectables. Do you mix your own? Oh no, you get them from actually already done, right?
No. So they come in the powdered form. So there's 2 companies I get them from. And both companies are, I guess they're calling it the gray market now, is what they're calling it.
Not the black market?
Yeah, the gray market. So, because some are being looked at by the FDA and being approved, and there's already some that are approved for other purposes, but you have to have the prescription for them. Like tesamorelint's one of those. It actually has a medical purpose.
Yeah.
But you have to have a prescription from your doctor and go to a compounding pharmacy. So the 2 places I get, they both have certificates of authenticity. I can't even say it right now. They get it third-party tested, and they actually show like, hey, this is 99%
exactly
pure. Where and I've had people go, oh, where do you get it? And I'll send them the link and all that kind of stuff, and then they'll go, well, I can get 10 vials of this for half the price. And I'm like, well, do you know what you're getting? That's the problem. Yeah. I relate it to kind of like with tattoos. You go and get a cheap $10 tattoo, it's probably not going to last, or it's going to look terrible. Yeah. So, you're going to pay for the quality stuff. Sorry, I was reading Andy's comments.
I want you to do that. I want you to read the comments too. Another thing too is you're paying for the extra money that you're paying for is actually for the testing that they've done. So it just, instead of spending anywhere from $100 to $250 for one of these little vials here, because this is glutathione. I just got this one today. You've heard about glutathione. That's really good, and I can't wait to start that. And then over here, I've got HGH, which is human growth hormone. But then again, I have a prescription for human growth hormone. I've been tested for this, right? I have a doctor's prescription for it. It is amazing, but it's expensive too.
Yes.
And there's a lot of fake human growth hormone going around out there. Where's most of your peptides made? Do you know that? You know where most of the peptides are actually made?
Well, so the one compounding pharmacy says they're made here, but I'm pretty sure a lot of them are made in China.
A lot of them are made in China. But
and that's and that's what one of the doctors that I had talked to goes, you know, you never know what you're getting from China in that vial. So,
Yes.
and
So
that,
that's how come, yeah, it's tested when it
yep.
gets here. You're right. 100%. You're right.
And I mean, and that's what some of these people don't understand too, is, you know, you're getting it from these cheap companies or whatnot, and they're not getting tested and they bring it over. Um, China's known for a lot of fentanyl too.
Yes.
So now you're injecting fentanyl if you get that bad stuff. I'm not
That's
saying every
how come you have to get it tested. You have to have somebody or pay the extra money to actually get it tested. The one thing, and we'll talk about that in a minute, but most of the, and just for a fact is, most of your peptides do come from China, but when they hit the States, they're automatically tested through a different company that actually does the testing, and it sends my girl down in Texas, sends my girl a certificate saying each one that they tested and what was the grade of it, 99, 95, whatever, and she can decide if she wants it or not, right? Because they got down to the 80s, right? And then she kicks it back out. If she goes into the 82, 83, she'll kick it back out. That way I know my stuff is 100% what it is, and I know you do the same thing because you do the research on it. Let me explain something to you guys too here. This is not, we're not doctors. This is something that we're talking about, that if you want to give to your brats, or, you know, like they do, to do a testing, it's not for human purposes. We're not doctors. It's just another pathway, guys, because we're going to talk about, you know, BPC 157 in a minute. And it's just a pathway, and it's not approved by the FDA. None of this is. We're going to talk about Retta in a minute, which is going to get, this year they're saying it's going to go and get passed by the FDA, and we'll talk about that, because actually that's what that is right there, Retta, that I just got in today too, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But guys, we're not doctors. We're just giving you guys another pathway if you wanted to look into it. We're not going to give you dosages. We're not going to, you know, I don't think we're going to advertise where we're getting it from either. And that's what I get a lot of that from people, and said, hey, I want to do this. I don't even know who's texting me, hey, I want to do this. Who do you get it from? We're not going to do that. We're not going to give up that kind of information, because we don't know. You know, you're watching a podcast. But guys, it's not approved by the FDA. I tell you what it's done for me, and you can actually tell me what it's done for you. It's changed me. It's actually made me get out and start doing things. I've dropped 25 pounds in the last 6 months. It's brought my numbers down, my cholesterol numbers down. It brought my A1C down, which wasn't high anyway. But it's brought my A1C down. It's brought my good cholesterol up. It's brought my triglycerides down. And this is the reason I know this, because I get tested every 6 months from a doctor for the last 10 years in San Antonio. I never got my numbers down. They are right now after I started doing Retatutide. So and I'm going to jump on over to the triple threat, which I take. It's named something else with you, but it's triple threat with me, right? Like you take it with copper, so it could be K-Glow.
They call it Clo.
And then that's amazing stuff, because I'm not hurting anymore, right? So I'm not hurting anymore. My ankles don't hurt. My back doesn't hurt as much. If it does hurt, it only takes 12 hours and it goes away. It doesn't linger with me, right? And it actually, my joints, I heal faster. I hurt my shoulder, had a rupture in my right rotator about a year and a month ago, and I recovered from that. So it's good. It's fine. It doesn't hurt. It doesn't do anything. And all because I started doing this triple threat about 6-8 months ago. And I started doing PPC 157 right after I had the injury, and I started working out. What has it done for you? You don't have to go too far into it, because I don't know how far you want to go into this. So,
well, I started with the BPC 157 TB 500 blend. I have a lot of arthritis from injuries, that kind of stuff. I've had 6 shoulder surgeries, 4 in one shoulder, 2 in the other. If I injure the one shoulder again, it's probably going to be shoulder replacement time. I've had knee surgeries. Last last May when we were up at Rock and Reno, second game of the day. I stretched for a ball, tore my hamstring, and it actually retracted 6.3 centimeters. So I couldn't even walk that whole weekend, and it was terrible. So I started taking the BPC and TB 500, and I actually would inject it right above where it was torn, right?
Yeah.
So it tore high up near the gluteus maximus. So I injected it right there, and after that weekend, I could actually walk and put some pressure on it. But I mean, it was bad. And when I went and saw the doctor, gosh, a week after, he goes, "Okay, we're getting you into surgery next week, right?" And I'm like, "Ooh, I can't do it that quick. There's some stuff on the schedule that I just can't, move things around." Because I was going to be non-weight bearing 6 weeks. I continued on with that regimen of the BPC TB 500 every day. And I ended up playing, not running, always had a runner. That's the beauty of senior softball, right? You can get runners. And I was a pitcher. But in the end of June, I played states. I played Western Nationals in the beginning of August. And then I went and had surgery. They said waiting as long as I did, they were probably going to have to use cadaver parts. Well, when I got into surgery, they actually were able to retract it or pull the hamstring back up and reattach it. The doctor couldn't believe it. Like, I mean, they were getting ready to get the tendon out, the cadaver parts out of the freezer. And he goes, "Wait, we don't need it. Hurry up and tack this. This is going to hold great." And so I attribute that literally to having those peptides on board. And
100%. Yeah.
I mean, and that's the only way. And because he even was shocked. He goes, "What did you do this whole time when you had this torn hamstring?" And I told him, I said, I played some, I pitched, and he goes, I can't believe you were able to move like that. And the only thing that I did was, was to have the peptides on board. And try and stay as active as possible and not just sit like, "Oh, I'm injured, let me just sit here." Like, I tried to move around and do as much as I could to even strengthen everything that was still there.
Yeah.
But then I moved on from that, it was Glow, because they didn't have the K part in it first. So it was basically the copper peptide. It's GHKU is what the actual peptide is called. And then with the BPC and the TB. And so that helped, the copper portion helps with collagen and inflammation, all that kind of stuff. Now the next evolution that I take is with the KPV in it, which really is big for the inflammation. And a lot of times my shoulder gets sore, and I'll just inject it right into my shoulder. So
whenever I get sore from doing things, either working out or even hitting balls, I take it every morning. So right when I get up, I take it on the empty stomach, and it's an injection into the belly fat, and then I go about my day. I cannot function without it. That's how good it's helped me, because I do have arthritis all throughout my body, but beating it up all the time, right? And my doc even told me a couple of times, like back in 15 years ago, I had to retire because I had a neck injury, and then I had a back injury from work. So they're saying, "Man, you were gonna have to do back surgery." Nope. I went to a chiropractor, started taking back then. You talk about black market. That's 15 years ago. I was taking it and injecting it into the back, right? Which had never got that far down there, but they say put it around the area that's injured, and it helped on my elbow. I'll tell you what happened to me was I went in and I tore my meniscus in my right knee on the inside. Now, guys, we're talking about our experience. This doesn't mean that this is going to cure what you have, because we don't know what you have, right? So I tore my meniscus. I went in. I had a tournament in another 3 weeks, and I was playing in that major plus bracket, and I was playing for Crush out of San Antonio, and I tore it swinging a bat, and my cleat got hung up in a mat that was underneath where I was standing, and my cleat got stuck in there because it was a mat like that, and my cleat got stuck in there, and I tore it, and it swelled up on me. I went in, and the doc says, "Man, these are so hard to heal. We're going to give you an injection so you get through the next tournament." So they gave me injections, gave me a brace. I went to the next tournament. It was still getting bad. He said, "Okay, we're going to do this rooster cone stuff." And I know you heard about that. It's the rooster cone stuff. They injected it twice, and that was it. And he said, "Okay, it's not working. Next thing we're going to do is stem cell." Well, you know how much stem cell costs, because insurance doesn't cover stem cell. So all of a
2 months.
sudden I said, no, let me check. Let me do this. Let me do something out. So I started taking it right over with the BPC 157 because they suggested with the BPC 157 that you do over the injury. It's the TB 500 that you can do in the fat in the belly because that goes all over, right? So I started doing above the injury on that right-hand side, and it took about that far to get to it, right? And guess what? It went away. And knock on wood, it hasn't came back. And it took about a month, right? 4 weeks to a month. I can notice every day the swelling was going down, and every day the swelling, and it's like it was amazing. I was a firm believer after that happened. Now, anytime that I got it now, because I can get it pretty out of San Antonio, and she even sends it to me now, but I can get it, and I cannot, like I've got probably 4 vials that is 6 months supply because I don't want to run out. I love it so much, and it's an anti-inflammatory, goes throughout your body, and it actually goes to the inflammation on the BPC, the TB 500. You know, if you have an injury that you can get to, I would not prefer the back because it will not get to that vertebrae that's in there or that swollen that that's pushing up against that disc problem that you have because it's got to go that far down. I wouldn't do that injecting the back. I would just do the BPC 157 in the belly too, in the fat of the belly, but if you have like an elbow, a shoulder, you can go right into the shoulder. You can go right into the knee. You can go into the ankle right over it with the BPC 157. But
Well,
I take go ahead.
And like I said, I'm going to just reiterate some of the things that Dave said. We are not doctors. We're not giving advice. We're telling you our experiences. I've talked to 2 different world-renowned orthopedic surgeons about BPC specifically. One says, absolutely not, do not take it because there's no proof that it works for anything. And that's his opinion. He's done a lot of research. He's written a lot of papers. He teaches worldwide. And I respect the guy. Now, another doctor's like, go for it. Like, do everything you can, for yourself.
Yeah.
So you're going to have varying opinions out there. And from, world-renowned surgeons all over the world, they're going to give you different opinions, just like hormone doctors or dentists. Everybody's going to have that different opinion. So you have to make the decision for yourself if you want to do any of these things. I found it's more natural than some of the, drugs and all that kind of stuff the doctors want to prescribe for you. And so that's why I've chosen to do them.
On the BPC, yeah, I would, like we're talking about, guys, do your research on this. Find out what it's made out of, or find out the structure on how they got to that point, and you'll understand why it actually is good for healing, right? But definitely, and here's the deal too. If you notice about my knee, I tried everything to heal the knee. I tried everything. And actually what my doc said, and this was years ago, my doc said, you're probably going to have knee replacement surgery on that knee. Mm-hmm. So let's try to, because of the wear and tear on it. My knees have not given me any trouble, and this is a daily regimen of mine that I take it every morning on that triple threat every morning. I don't go a day without it. Now, guys, listen to this. If I miss a day, it doesn't automatically come back. It doesn't all of a sudden I just can't get out of bed or I can't walk around. Now, if I probably stayed on it for about 2 weeks, maybe something would. I haven't tried it, but maybe something would.
So I got a story about that. So if you if you stay off of it for, a couple weeks or so, you're going to start to feel some of that inflammation coming back. If you're a chronic inflammation person or you have chronic pain. Yeah. So that's the thing is, in my opinion, which take it with a grain of salt, is it works for chronic pain. I have somebody else who, it's not me, says that if they don't take it on a regular basis, their back is just shot. Like it, and they've had a bad back, had neck issues, that kind of stuff, that they're like, oh man, like I can feel it if I don't take it every 3 or 4 days. Like they can start to feel it. I've had somebody else who, asked some advice. They had an injury. They're having some shoulder problems specifically. Very nervous about the injecting. That's where most people really get hung up on this. They're little insulin needles. Like, I mean, a lot of times you don't even notice it. No. It's a little pinch, but I understand. I don't like to give blood. That just kind of does me in. But so this person started taking it. It was a female, and very nervous. Finally said, "Okay, I got the stuff." And after about 2 or 3 weeks after reconstituting it, I think she finally decided to take it. And she's like, "Well, I went out and threw today. I'm not sore. Like, I don't know if this is just a placebo effect or what." And I said, "Well, keep trying it." And, she said, "Well, I can kind of move now where I don't hurt like I did after the last tournament." So to me, that's huge, where us as seniors or, a little bit later on in life, we can do those things.
Well, I don't know if we're talking about the same person or thinking about the same person, because she contacted me.
I believe it is.
There was somebody that contacted me, and she goes, "You've been talking about this for a long time, and I've heard other people talk about it." And she goes, "I've had this shoulder problem for a long time." And finally I said, "What the hell?" Because her doctor wasn't doing anything. Injecting cortisone shots every 6 months. You can't do more than 2 of those a year, because it degrades, it actually tears up the tendon. It actually weakens the tendon, right? If you take too many of them. Well, BPC 157 doesn't do that, or TB 500 doesn't do that. It doesn't weaken anything. So finally she started doing it, and all of a sudden she can throw now. They're probably talking about the same person. We're not going to say her name.
Oh, yeah,
I'm talking about the same person. But
I'm
yeah,
pretty sure.
yes.
And contacted me about a friend of theirs who just recently had an injury, who's going to start because of her feelings on it.
Yes.
So
listen, guys, we're not just talking about injuries either. Guys got to understand, women and men, you can have autoimmune diseases, right? You can have an autoimmune disease. You can have these different autoimmune diseases that's attacking your system, that's attacking your joints, your knees, your bones. This actually takes a lot of that away. Not,
right.
I'm not giving you any kind of percentages here, but if it can take the edge off from this chronic pain that you're getting, either you can have some kind of autoimmune disease out there. And we're more, as seniors, we're more susceptible to that autoimmune disease. So this is something that'll actually take that edge off. It has to me, and it's been because of all the injuries that I have. And my doc looks at my x-ray and goes, years ago, was like, "Wow, you tore your body up pretty bad." I said, "Yeah, from lifting and then playing sports, sliding, and I was playing football before I started playing softball." So it's just all that stuff that I've done. And the days, shoulders are fried from powerlifting, elbows are fried from powerlifting. But guys, I'm not going to be that guy that's not going to, that listens to how many doctors that just want to inject me full of stuff, either for my blood pressure or my thyroid. Not my thyroid, but my blood pressure and my cholesterol levels, right? So they're already wanting to do a statin, and I've talked about this in the past too. And I won't do a statin, because you feel like crap on a statin, and you don't want to get rid of all your cholesterol. You need cholesterol for your brain. You need cholesterol to heal. So I changed my diet, and guess what? My cholesterol is down in the low 100s, is where it's at right now, and it's going further because I do watch my diet.
Well, interesting on the diet portion. Perkins, I forget his first name. He's a pitcher for the A's out here, and there was some big articles on him lately. And he has cut out every ounce of sugar in his diet because it's linked to how much inflammation you can get in your body. And he's done his own testing on it, where he says he performs better with 0 sugar. And
Yes.
even in the office, he goes, "I changed my diet to where there's no sugar, and now I'm performing at that top level versus everything else." So just diet is huge. That's what people don't understand.
I'm glad you brought that up, because I wasn't even thinking about that, or it wasn't even written down here. But sugar is one of the biggest inflammatories that you can consume in your body. So what I did was, Charlie Mueller had hurt his shoulder. So I was talking to Charlie Mueller, and I'd give him some tips on how to get his shoulder back in shape, right? Because he's an outfielder, and he went to catching, and he loved the outfield, right? And guys from Texas, who Charlie Mueller is. So Charlie comes out, and I hadn't seen him for about 4 months. And he comes out because he hits with us all the time. He came out last year, and he's thinner, and you can say he's got his strength back, and he's throwing with his right arm. He's just like winging it. And I go, "Charlie, man, what's going on?" He goes, "Well, I listened to what you said. And I got rid of my diet, all the refined sugars that I can find. I got rid of them all. And the inflammation," and he had double knee replacement surgery about 6 months ago. all the inflammation that he had went down. He can throw again. He got range of motion back, all because of any kind of consumer. And you got to agree with me on this one. Sugar's sugar.
Yep.
It doesn't matter where it comes from. You know, a lot of people go, what is it? The honey from bees. Well, it's still sugar.
Yeah.
It's still going to spike insulin. It's going to create inflammatories in your body. So that's another thing a lot of people, which I'm glad we have this channel to actually voice our opinion about this. And we're going to get more into a lot of that stuff later on. But okay, now that we got everybody talked about BPC 150, I will not get on it. I'll stay on it till the day I die. I'm telling you right now, because it's done so much for me. Even if I retire, I'm still softball. I'm still going to be on it, right? So what is the best, before we leave, because we want to talk about peptides every time we're here. And again, guys, we're not trying to get you guys on this. What is the best peptide that you think in your mind what you like? And I'm going to tell you what mine is later on, but you tell me what your best peptide, and you're going to ask me, Dave, there's so many peptides out there, which one? And I'm talking about, you know, let's say if you want to healthier heart, because I know they got MOTS C out there. And just let me jump in here. MOTS C, guys, this is just the guys up there. Enlarged prostate. These two words, MOTS C plus DIM for enlarged prostate. Do your research on that one. DIM is something you can buy at the store, right? Walk in there. It's DIM, right? And it lowers estrogen. Guys got large prostates because of estrogen. Okay, that, and then the DIM helps out. The DIM helps out with the MOTS C, and it actually helps with that that BPH, I think is what it is for men's. I'm not asking you. I'm just saying.
And,
I'm talking to the guy.
MOTS also helps with metabolism.
Yes.
So and brain function. So there's a lot of things that MOTS C does. It's very close to what NAD Plus does. Which is, you know, so you say that the peptide that, you know, for overall health, right? I'm going to have to go with a combination of two, based on all my research. And so the BPC TB blend, at least. And then, because that also goes with gut health, inflammation. There's actually studies that help.
Yeah, we didn't even talk about gut health. We never talked about gut health. So, yeah.
So, and I don't care who you are, everybody could have better gut health.
Yes.
You know, and then the other one would be retatrutide. You combine those two, and
I would fist bump you right now.
There's a lot of conflicting information. I mean, and I can't tell you guys how many hours of podcasts and stuff I've read about peptides, because you know, when I was going through my injury and that kind of stuff, I gained weight, and I was non-weight bearing for 6 weeks. So I literally could hardly do anything. So since September, when I could actually start walking, is I've lost, 30 pounds. And part of that, I started with tirzepatide first, and that's the Wegovys, the Ozempics, those kind of things. And I was successful there. But so I was a little hesitant to jump to the retatrutide. But then I started seeing all the studies, and I knew some other friends who had taken it. And there's so many amazing benefits to it. They call it a GLP-3 because it attacks 3 different antagonists, just instead of just your insulin type stuff. But it also, a lot of people have the nausea on the tirzepatide or semaglutide. You don't get that with retatrutide. They kind of found a way to cut that out. It also cuts down what they call the food noise. So all of us, and I'm super guilty of it, it's Easter time. I love Peeps. So I will go eat Peeps. But if I take some retatrutide, it cuts down that food noise and the cravings.
Yes.
My biggest struggle on it is to eat enough. Because there's times that I'm just like, oh, I'm not hungry, and just not want to eat. So I'll have to force myself to get the nutrition. Or, you know, my better half would be like, did you eat today?
Yeah.
So, but then there's the other food, you know, train of thought too with this. So that's why, you know, we both say, go do your research, read the studies, and find out what works best for you. Is doing 1 dose a week, or doing micro dosing. throughout the week.
Yeah.
But some of the people I follow and some of the things I like is the microdosing. And so I'm on a very low dose, 2 to 3 times a week. And just because you have to be at a maintenance level too. And this also comes from a female health doctor is what they're calling it. Because for guys, you guys haven't made in the sun, whether you guys know it, but you guys can get in and get your testosterone. You can get your all your human growth hormones. To get a female doctor who works with hormones and who believes in anything other than here's your progesterone, here's your estrogen. Oh, yeah, you might be in that. And to get blood work, all that kind of stuff. It is a pain in the butt.
Yeah.
There's a doctor who's on Instagram, Kelly Casperson, I think is her name. She's actually a urologist, and she will speak worldwide. Like any of those females on here, go follow her on Instagram and listen to her. And there's 4 or 6 countries in the entire world that approve testosterone for women to take.
Yes.
Whereas US will not do it because there was supposedly one study somewhere, sometime, which nobody can find, that said it caused, it was something absurd too. Like it might have caused cancer one time in elderly patients. And by the time we're elderly, elderly is that word where we're not moving a lot and that kind of stuff. We don't need it as much. But if it's going to cut down all these symptoms, and there has to be that happy medium. So, and some of the doctors really think it's testosterone is terrible for women, but with your, so do your research, follow the doctor. You guys can reach out to me. I'll get her profile put up too in the comments on here so anybody can go follow her. But I would say for sure. Tara's saying she had to go see a specialist. Yeah, and finding a specialist who believes in it. There's a local doctor here who's a health doctor that didn't know much about peptides until somebody I know said, well, I'm taking peptides because I don't want the pharmaceutical junk. And this doctor took the time to go learn about them and said, okay, I think I'm going to have more patients doing this because I'm more of a natural doctor, even though I'm through health insurance. So, and she believes in retatrutide. She believes in, women taking testosterone, but she also says you need the estrogen and progesterone at times. So let's work on these numbers. Yeah. So for women, it can be a struggle, but don't get discouraged. There's a bunch of us out here all in the same boat.
100%. Talk about Retta. A lot of people get retatrutide mixed up with Ozempic. They found out with Ozempic that you can have muscle wasting, right? So you lose like a lot of muscle when you're on Ozempic. That is a fact. It actually does happen, right? But with Retta, you retain the muscle, and it gets rid of a lot of visceral fat, liver fat. If you got a fatty liver, and these are proven. These are write-ups on this peptide that actually finds out if you got a fatty liver, it gets rid. Now, they're talking about Retta. The side effect is the weight loss, the visceral fat, the hard fat to get rid of, because they got brown fat, they got white fat. You probably read up on that too. So it gets rid of that, right? And the fatty liver, which actually makes your liver's got to function, guys, because it has a lot to do with APTs, got storage of energy in the liver, a lot to do with hormones in the liver. So your liver is a big part of man and women's body. So if this is going to free that liver up to work better with that Retta, my markers, and I wanted a fist bumper a minute ago because that's my number one is Retta. It's a weekly injection, right? And then your doses can go up or down depending. You start off low, you go up high, but it has made me. It's got my quality of life back because I've dropped 25 pounds on it. My blood markers are just whack across the board. They just dropped. So that's a big thing for me, is I dropped all those bad things that was going on without changing my diet. So guess what I did? I dropped the markers and I've changed my diet more, because I didn't want to be on it to do the testing. And then all of a sudden, well, you just stopped more carbs, or you just eating protein, just straight protein. No, I wanted to be the same thing. And you're right, because Retta will actually help you from getting sugar cravings and carb cravings. But guys, Retta works too. And you've heard this too. don't cut out all your carbs, when you're on Retta. But you want to consume a little bit of carbs because you got to have your energy for one. And it's got to be the right carb, a complex carbohydrate, because that makes it work better.
Well,
So
and
yeah,
what people forget is we all just say carbs. What is the whole word? Carbohydrate.
yeah,
So they help with hydrating you and your muscles and your cells and stuff in your body, the stuff that we don't see and we don't really know about unless you were that biology major who understands it all.
yeah,
So carbs are not all bad. There's, but there's a fine line. You can't just go eat junk carbs and think you're going to be healthy.
yes. What have you done any NAD plus?
Yep, I've done that quite a bit, and that helps a lot with brain fog. I found mentally it kind of, and two of the guys I follow. So one of the guys owns one of the peptide companies where I will get some of my stuff from. Ex bodybuilder, little deal. He did have some skin cancer in his face and huge scar, like pretty big scar. So he started taking the glow and the Clo for it. You can't even see the scar within a year. Like that's how much the peptide helped him. And he will testify to this. It's all over, he says that. And he's early 40s. He said his blood work on Retta, and I can't remember what else he's on, but I know he's on Retta, is better than when he was in his early 20s. So
Yeah, I can see that.
and
What?
so it's just amazing. And the NAD is one of them he's on. He switches between NAD and MOTS-C because they have a lot of the similar functions.
Give your example of the copper peptide, because that's an anti-inflammatory and it helps with collagen in the face. So a lot of the ladies would actually prefer that than the men, right? Because the wrinkles in the face. Just give your little thing on that.
So, from all my research, it helps with hair growth, nail growth. Your skin looks younger. It actually, you guys will love this one, wrinkles. There are some people who absolutely rave about it, and other people are like, eh. The biggest thing, if you get on it or you get the vial, it is blue colored. So don't freak
Yeah,
out that it's blue color, because people are like, oh my gosh, like, did I get bad stuff? No. For some reason, that copper peptide is blue.
and it
So,
burns a little bit.
see, there's only a few things that I've had burn, and that's not one of them. I don't know if it's all mixed together that because it's all the way it's put in there, but I've never had that one burn, and everybody has different experiences, right? So
Yeah,
the one I've had burn the most is the blend that I do, the IPA CJC 1295. That one has burned in the past. Tessamorelin here and there, and then sometimes the NAD plus. Those are the ones that I generally feel it with, but it also depends, how long it's been since I've injected one of those.
here's another thing too, and I think Rachel agreed with me on this. Guys, you can't take this for a month and then automatically, if you don't feel it, you get off it, because the glow is actually one of them that they start seeing results in 6 to 8 weeks with that, and they're very good results. So what happens with a lot of people out there, and she was watching a minute ago, is that they tend to get on it for a month and they don't see anything, so they just go ahead and just because I think the absorption rate too from people are different. That some people get it real fast, some people get it a little bit later, but it does work too. Now, going into that, did you have something to say on that? I don't want to cut you off.
No,
I know Bob.
I was one of the comments. So
Okay. Another thing too is, I was asked this yesterday. What do you Sermolin? Is that what it? It's a secretagogue. You take it at
yeah,
nighttime.
it's a secretagogue.
Sermolin, Sermolin,
Cimarellin, I think.
Cimarellin. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't use that one. If I'm going to use one, I'm going to use the Tessamorelin. I like it much better. I think it has better benefits to it. And that's the thing, is you have to go on and you have to do your research. Certain websites will actually put like, hey, these are what this one's good for. But it's hit and miss for some people. But the Tessamorelin really, one of the claims to it is it attacks the visceral fat really well for men and women. So I like that one better than the Cimarellin.
Now,
Correct.
is that one, what does that do? Is that like a Retta or is that something different?
No, it's like the it's a secreta. I think it's a secretagogue. So
Secretes
the
the pituitary gland gland to release growth.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Okay. All right.
yeah, and I'll send you some info off on the side that I think there's a website you might like that I found through one of these podcasts that I did for a lot of that I listened to for a lot of my info.
And I don't know because I do want to put this out there too. There is a peptide too that helps with dementia. It helps with Alzheimer's and Parkinson's, and that is CMAX. Have you
Yep,
ever heard of that one? It actually
taken it.
helps with anxiety too.
Yep,
It helps with
I've
anxiety, helps with brain fog. Your
yep,
it helps your brain function a lot better, and it helps with dementia. Like if my grandmother, if my mom was on had dementia or early onset dementia, I'd definitely get her on this. It's called CMAX, is what it is. So there's big, and I was just yesterday I was just reading up on it because I know I'm going to get to that point where I'll start forgetting things, because we do have a family history of it too. So I would start getting on that whenever, well, actually soon is what I'm going to do, and just take that daily injection of that. And it's not really much that you got to take during the day, but I'm going to start doing that probably too. And I know a lot of you guys out there.
yeah, and there's a website out there. I'm not going to give it to you guys. Do your own research on it, but it's a .org for peptide information. Um, and my feeling is if it's a .org, it's going to be much more reliable than some of your other websites out there. This is actually, they do research and they talk about, I mean, there's a chart of probably 50 or 60 peptides on there that they talk about what they do and what they're kind of best for and that kind of stuff. But just yeah, make sure you don't just take something just because you're like, oh, well, this is the next cool thing. That's kind of how the Ozempic, phase started, right? Was, and that's when the diabetic patients couldn't get it. So I know, and doctors, there's one friend of mine out here, older than I am, says, well, we can't give you hip replacement surgery that you need until you drop weight. Well, they can't work out because they're in so much pain. I mean, can't even sit in a chair for an extended period of time because they get stiff and it starts to get painful. So they gave my friend a pill, and I don't remember which pill it was. It's not touching anything, hasn't
Yeah.
changed, food habits or anything. And I'm like, well, if you really want the surgery bad enough, you're gonna choose to do something different. So had an actual discussion today about it, and they're probably going to switch over to Retta next this within the next month to try it because it's like I'm in so much pain I can't handle it anymore, and I'm
To
just
drop,
kind
yeah.
of lost.
It's
So
hard. It's hard, especially for women. I do think it's harder with premenopausal too. I mean, that just shuts everything down and everything goes whack. But there's things that you can do to actually combat the premenopausal when it comes to women. I'm not a woman, but I've been around a lot of women, so I know what they do. So to help
yeah,
them, like the testosterone, to help with a lot of that too. The HGH to help with the Tammy, the HGH with uh, the HGH with the bone density, right? Because you do, after menopausal, you do lose a lot of bone density. Just little things like that. The secretagogue that secretes growth from the pituitary gland at nighttime. So that's just things that we can educate or talk to. And guys, this is the deal. Don't believe us. Really, go out and do your own research. We're not telling you to get on this stuff too, and I cannot say that enough. We're just giving you different pathways to look at, because there's a time where your doctor is just done talking to you and he starts writing a script. There's other ways. I've done it. Rachel's done it, where you just want to go down and just find other things that might not be approved or is going to be approved in the next 5 years, but you don't want to wait 5 years, but it's on that phase 4. And I know about the phases, phase 4, phase A, B, when it actually does go through approval. So just little things that you can. Okay, I was on a test study. This is real quick. I was on a test study about 6 years ago on HGH. I did a 2.5 years test study on a weekly injection of HGH, not the daily anymore, because I got it given to me for free for 2.5 years. And I had to write everything down, and they paid me for it. I was kind of like a guinea pig for them. And it was amazing. Once a week HGH injection. It was amazing. It just hit the market now. Yep. This year it hit the market, and it took that long for that to get here. When I was doing that, that was 5-6 years ago, and it took that long for it to get to market.
Trials, I don't want to get into some of the other stuff, but how they do it is A, B, C, and they have to have A's results before they go to B, and they'll go all the way to M, step M, before it can ever get approved. So that might be 6 years, 8 years, 10 years of trials before anything ever happens. There's one thing out there where they did all those at the same time, and they didn't see any and some of that's for the long-term side effects too. So that's the other thing, is why they stretch these trials out before some of these drugs will actually come to market. Just a lot of, bureaucracy involved too, which happens everywhere.
Yes. Let's talk about, ladies, and we're going to talk about this, guys. It's something we're going to do like on Thursdays, and have a few people in here talking about them and their experiences, just everything that it has to do with everybody, and have a bunch of guests on here. Before we get off, I want to talk to you about ladies softball. And I know you've been on
5 or 10 minutes, just so you know.
5 or 10 minutes. 5 minutes.
Just letting you know, because the wife.
7 minutes. I know. She's at me too. That's how come I yelled at her. Like, quit yelling at me. So,
well, you got stuff in the oven. Go ahead.
Yes, I got to go eat. So this is what we'll talk about this later too. So just so everybody here, because we've been on for hour and about an hour and 11 minutes. Anyway, just tell me what the biggest problem, or what you would do to fix it, or what would make it better when it comes to the women's softball program in the senior market.
Well, so out west here, we have almost strictly SSUSA for our tournaments.
Yeah.
So that hinders us, because now, like one of the tournaments that we're all pulling out of, it's Mother's Day weekend. So they switched from a 4-field complex for the entire one-day tournament to a 3-field complex, which is terrible. And the fields are just okay. Well, they're catering to the men versus the women. They do it at Worlds all the time. They put 40 women's majors at the field up on the hill, not even the decent fields over there. They put us at the worst fields. So you're putting your highest level of women at the 3 worst fields, some of the three of the worst fields you have. Yeah. We now have, on my podcast a few weeks ago, I had Julia. She is actually signed on to be the women's director for NCS out here. We called her up, said, hey, we're looking for a tournament on May 9th. Can you throw one? So she said, let me find fields. They may not be the premier fields. We used to play these fields when I was playing women's C way back in the day. And she goes, yep, got you guys a tournament. Let's see if we can fill it with 10 or 12 teams. Her first tournament out here in women's, it was just a U-Trip Tech tournament, 16 teams in her first one. So the big thing for women's, I think, is don't give us crappy schedules with huge breaks in between. Don't make us play at 8 a.m. and then come back at 5 or 6. It's notorious for some of the tournaments out here to start us at 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and you don't get done until 2 o'clock in the morning. Yeah. What's hard for women, and I'm sure Tara and Andy might be able to kind of go into this, especially the 40s women first, and as you get 50s and above, it's a little bit easier. Women still have kids in that age range where they can't be left home alone, or they can't. We're still taking them to soccer, to softball, to all those things. My kids are grown, so I don't have to worry about it. But those moms are still out there being a mom. So if you keep them at a field all day long, you're going to drive them out of tournaments. Yeah. But Matt Barnes is doing a great job saying that the women's game they pay the same amount of money. Their money is green just like everybody else's. So I'm going to give them the turf fields, or I'm going to give them, just the same game times as the men would. So that's, I think, one of the biggest complaints. And then you'll see some of these tournaments posted where men's prize package is, or if you get 12 teams, it's the winning team get 12 bats. Well, that's not the same for the women because you can only draw 5 teams, which I get, but then what is your prize package? We've had one tournament out here, the guy does sweatshirts, okay. He gave us 12 jerseys one time, custom jerseys, but you had to go through his guy, and it took 4 months to get them. Or half off your next tournament entry. Not even a full tournament entry, just half off. So it's that combination of, don't just cater to the men, because the women, and you've seen it too, women will spend money just as much as men. And that's kind of how I got introduced to short porch. I walked around all those booths, and I went to 3 of the booths. Nobody ever talked to me. And then that's when I approached you guys and talked to some of the other people. And then you and I got to talking, and it was like, okay, this company actually cares about propelling the women's game. And I'll be honest, and I'm going to throw a name out there. Patty Albright's been a champion for that and is out there. She, for the longest time, was one of the only vendors besides the tournament vendors at the women's fields.
Yeah.
So it's that, just try and keep that equality in a sense of men. I always kind of say men spend stupid money, where they buy the next new bat no matter what, without even like, oh, you have to take my money 4 weeks in advance, never seen it, don't even know what it's at. But there's, I need to have 18,000 bats in my bat bag. Whereas women get that bat and they just keep it, and they're like, this is my baby. Like, you are not taking this from me. I'm going to swing this forever. Well, you say, okay, well, I know you love that bat, but if you use this bat, you are going to propel your game. And they will go for it. It's just, you have to really value them. It's just like an employee. Employees don't feel valued, they're not coming back, or they're not going to be happy. So just make the women feel as valued as the men are. I think that's big time. Umpires also saying we get the worst umpires. So
I heard that being said quite a bit, especially when I was watching the comments on Matt Barnes when he had Andy on there. But the deal about it is, and I do see, because I do watch both of them, and I've never seen a game at BLD in Vegas with women playing. It probably has happened, but it just didn't happen under my watch when I was there. I did walk over. I went over. Remember when I met you in a parking lot and you were leaving? So I went up to the other ballpark and it was packed. And men can't draw like that. I mean, it was packed, and everybody was walking around having a great time, waiting for the games, and it was just like packed. The whole place was packed, and it wasn't at one of those big ballparks that was desirable, And I was like, why are you doing this? Because the rotation is just not, because usually after so many years, the women would get BLD, especially. I heard it's going to be really nice because they redid everything this year at BLD over in Vegas. But I don't understand why they don't do a kind of rotation and don't play favorites. And, it's just a disservice. And we talked about this 2 years ago too, when you came on the short porch. It's just a disservice, and kind of like the bat industry, where, they never made bats for girls. They never made bats for women. They never made bats for the older guys too. So, and that was bad because they get hand down bats, wouldn't even flex for you, so we talked about that too. But we'll talk more. Go tell your wife I'm sorry. Go, and just I love having you on. And we
hours.
Yes, we can. Yes, we can. Actually, I can go about 2 hours tonight just talking to you about a bunch of stuff. But I know we got the other things to do. Go do your stuff, and I will talk to you again. Guys, watch her podcast Monday night. She's going to have guests on it. She might want to have some prize guests next Wednesday. I don't know if next Monday. I don't know if you've talked to them, but let me know how that goes. And then that's going to be a surprise guest on next Monday night. Rachel runs podcasts on Mondays. Go tune in. She's got a bunch of information on her and Bob. All right.
Yeah. And Monday night, just to kind of let you guys all know, it should be somebody who you don't want to miss. Let's just put it that way.
Yes,
So,
100%. Thank you.
all right, we'll talk to you later.
All right.
Bye.
Bye. Rachel, good. I met her 2 years ago in the booth because she was right. Nobody would talk to her. And then Jeff started talking to her, and then I came on, started talking to her, and just talking to her about what best bat fits the ladies out there. The one thing I like about her is she learns. She wants to learn. She's experimented with bats. We sent her a few bats at the beginning. Let her swing them. We want to hit that ladies market really hard, because in my opinion, I've talked about this on previous podcasts, is it's been a disservice to a lot of the ladies out there, and I watch them swing. I mean, I coached ladies ball 20 years ago, won national championships with them. So yeah, I just think it's a disservice, and the tournaments too. There's got to be a lot more tournaments, and I'll have a lot more ladies on here talking. I like to get Tara and Andy on here, separately, and just start talking about what can we do to better women's softball across the board. Guys, thanks for joining in. I'm done. I'm gonna grab something to eat, and then I'll talk to you guys next Wednesday.